Hello, everybody. My name is Hailey Rose, and today I'm going to be discussing the topic of supporting LGBTQ plus parents with autistic children. This topic is personally very close to me as I am in a relationship with a woman, and I do work closely with autistic children. So I wanted to learn how to better support families who are just like me within this community. My topic outline for this PowerPoint would be diversity, family factors, healthcare experiences, cultural competency, education experience, communication, supporting families, working with families, stress, scenario, and summary. Firstly, I'm going to be discussing the topic of diversity. As we all know, with the LGBTQ plus community, it is a well-rounded and diverse group of people. While I believe that each family in this world is beautifully unique, some of these families do not fit societal standards. So they're met with judgment, discrimination, and all of the above that we can imagine. But if you are a family who does not fit those societal standards, and then you have a child with autism or other deficits, disabilities, or diagnoses, you are faced with a whole other level of fear of discrimination. It just really adds layers to the whole situation and can provide a lot of stress for families. It is important to know that for these parents who have children with deficits, disabilities, diagnoses, that when collaborating with medical professionals, even teachers, ABA clinics, other therapies, they have more tendencies to be fearful and not get the proper services that they need for their child because of those fears. The next topic I will be discussing is family factors. This can affect how the families are working with medical professionals or professionals as a whole. Specifically, medical professionals, depending on the child's needs, it's important for families to communicate with those medical professionals. But past experiences can prohibit proper services. Even current experiences or even hearing about experiences from other individuals who are like your family. This can have the families face this discrimination or judgment. It may discourage them from further services. I know personally, as a woman who is in a relationship with a woman and I go to the doctor, I do have a level of fear there that I will be met with judgment and discrimination, let alone if we had a child with autism. That is just a whole other level of fear. Healthcare experience. So, according to experiences of LGBT parents when accessing healthcare for children, a literature review published by Lucille Kelsall, Nye, shows that studies have shown that LGBTQ plus parents have good experiences with medical professionals regarding their children, whereas others have bad experiences. So there's really just a 50-50 whether or not you're going to have a positive experience or negative experience. And this can turn a lot of families away when getting proper services for their children. Furthermore, there was also a study conducted in Sweden with lesbian, gay, and bisexual parents who worked closely with medical professionals. Whereas some felt judged and there was assumptions made that hurt the parents, there was also experiences with other parents that was positive. So there's really just a 50-50 on whether or not you will get a positive experience or not. Cultural competency is where we are understanding other people's beliefs, religions, differences, and just coming to their level and understanding that. Everyone has their own beliefs, ethics, and biases, but it is important to understand those biases when working with others that differ from yourself, especially in the field of ABA, in the field of any sort of medical professional, and even teachers. It's important to understand your own biases, as it was discussed in Chapter 9 of Daughtry and Johnson 2022. In order to best support LGBTQ plus parents, use terminology that doesn't assume heteronormative situations such as parents, partner, spouse, guardian. This will give them the ability to be comfortable with that person, because you're not assuming that it's just a mom and dad situation. Utilizing more training for staff. This is proven that there needs to be more training for medical professionals to utilize cultural competency and understanding when working with LGBTQ plus families. As a whole, I feel like not only just for this community, but other minority groups, there does need to be more training within all these communities. Education experience. So LGBTQ plus parents can face the same fears that they face in medical professionals when it comes to the education system. We have to understand that there is a lot of collaboration happening when we are working with parents with their child who has an autism diagnosis. You're collaborating with principals, teachers, other professionals, other therapies in school, and even collaborating so you can make an IUP, which is an individualized education plan, so it meets your child's needs. With that level of collaboration can also make a parent nervous, as there's a lot of walks of life when it comes to the education system, so you never know what a person's bias or beliefs are. According to a study, there was mixed experiences. Some parents were more involved, knowing their community is less accepting, which is quite interesting because you would think it would be the opposite, but it could be simply that the parents are trying to change that bias there. And parents that are open about their relationship / situation oftentimes did not have great relationships with the school staff. Communication. In order to have the best success for your child, communication between all parties is important. Whether the child is going to school, receiving therapies, ABA services, we should always be communicating amongst each other. This is for the best of the child. In an article, they focused on increasing communication between parents of a child with autism and teachers. They utilized models in which they planned discussions and meetings. They found that there was more communication and better success for the child when they were having these discussions and meetings. Supporting families. Why would an LGBTQ plus parent need support when they have a child with autism? So oftentimes they face more stress. They have the stress of collaborating with more professionals, the stress of discrimination, which I also put in this, so discrimination. They have fears of not fitting those societal standards, and there's also a lack of community there. if you are not in an area where it is widely accepted to be a part of the LGBTQ plus community, you will have less support systems than you would in a other city or area that does accept people who are part of the community. Next one would be working with families. The guidelines. So creating a welcoming environment for all families, build communication and trust with these families, provide resources and trainings to further support these parents. These are all guidelines that I feel like should be a generalized for all families. We should always be creating a welcoming environment. You never know who you are going to be collaborating with that day. You never know what somebody is going through. Building communication and trust with families is also so important, no matter who they are, where they come from, all the walks of life. When you are working with a family who has a child with deficits and needs extra supports, we should be utilizing this. Providing resources and trainings. As discussed below this, it can help reduce stress, and these trainings are recommended for children with autism as well. This is important to understand, especially in the field of ABA, that we utilize trainings with parents very often. As much as twice a month, 4 times a month, as much as insurance will approve for that time. But this will allow for parents to better understand resources, support systems, how to better the success for their child. So even this type of training would be beneficial for a parent who is a part of the LGBTQ plus community. Minority stress in ASD. There are many reasons as to why an LGBTQ plus parent would be stressed, and especially when they have a child with autism. There's many stigmas around LGBTQ plus parents, such as they should have one mom and one dad, and they are not fully equipped to be parents because there's either a parent who is different, or there's a parent who identifies as trans. There might be a parent who, or both parents are lesbian, gay, bisexual, and there are stigmas around that type of title, or label, may I say. When you add a layer of a child who has extra needs, there's more stress that goes on to this, and even more stress than if the child was neurotypical, because there is so much collaboration, there's so much extra needs there. Or even if the child is level 1, you still want to make sure that you are providing the best for the child and collaborating even with school staff in order to make sure that everyone's on the same page regarding the child's needs and successes. Scenario. So working with an LGBTQ plus parent, they have an 8-year-old autistic boy. The family dynamic is Danny, his mom, and so is Sierra. She is also the mom. Recently moved from Phoenix, Arizona to Indianapolis, Indiana. They're looking into ABA services for their 8-year-old boy, Max, and they will conduct an initial assessment on December 1st. Both parents are feeling pretty nervous about the assessment, but reassurance was given by the ABA staff with other resources in the Indianapolis area. So this is really important to kind of break down in the scenario. We identified that both Danny and Sierra are both the mother figures. We also conducted that, or we said that both parents are feeling nervous, keyword parents. We're not saying mom and mom. We're not saying, we're not filling in mom and dad. We're saying a neutral, non-heteronormative term, parents. They're both feeling nervous about this assessment. The ABA staff did a really, really nice job reassuring both parents that this is all going to be okay, and kind of showed them that this is a very accepting and supportive environment for them. And then as well, on top of that, they provided other resources knowing that they just moved to Indianapolis. So that is really important, and that will ensure that both Danny and Sierra will feel comfortable moving forward within the ABA services for Max. Summary. So in conclusion, LGBTQ plus parents do face discrimination, fears, and lack of support, but this is not the case for every parent, while some do have good experiences. There are many ways we can ensure that we are being inclusive, supportive, and loving in all environments, whether that's medical, school, ABA services, and for those parents, no matter the dynamics. Being aware of language, such as using non-heteronormative language like parents, guardians, spouse, marriage, those are all neutral words that we can be utilizing. And also being aware of your own biases, because that can also affect those parents as well. Being aware of this can make the interaction from a fearful one into a positive one, which is really important when trying to support parents who are a part of the LGBTQ plus community, and they also have a child with autism who needs extra supports. That is all for today. I really, really enjoyed researching this topic, as I am an individual who is in a relationship with another woman, and we do plan on having children in the future. So to know that there are resources and research out there proving that more trainings and more awareness to the discrimination, stigmas, and cultural competencies within medical fields is needed, is really important as we move forward in life. This can help many, many families, and just better understanding how we as a whole can better support these families. So yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening.